as we understand that we serve a God who creates an environment. He created Eden before he created man, before he created Adam. We understand that this environment that was perfect, it was complete, wanting nothing, that sin is what changed the environment. See, in Genesis chapter 3, look at verse number 17. Genesis 3:17 says, "Then to Adam he said, Behold, because you have heeded the voice of your wife, and have eaten from the tree of which I have commanded you, saying, You shall not eat of it, cursed is the ground for your sake. In toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life." We live in a twisted world. We live in a world that has Arctic poles and scorching equatorial deserts, because there's been a loss, there's been a miscalculation. The balance, perfection has been altered. And so because of this, the environment struggles. There's suffering. We live in a dog-eat-dog world where you have prey and you have predators, not just on the animal level, but even those who created in the very image of God. Humanity will have the callousness to kill or to take or to exploit what God has given, or even someone that God has given to us. All the mess that we're in, a lot of times it's very easy to point the finger at God and say, how could God, or how did you do this? And we've got to remember to put the blame where it belongs. And he's very descriptive in Genesis 3:17, because when he's speaking to Adam, he says, because you did what I told you not to do. See, he repeats himself, because you ate of the tree which I told you shall not eat of it. We're able to see that this was not a sin of ignorance, that this was not misinformation on the part of the Creator, but this was the objective free choice that we as humans exercise, and we became partners in this violation of his explicit will. So the reason why you shouldn't be blaming God is that, one, it forces us to see the real problem, and we said the problem is sin. And the beautiful thing about identifying the problem is that we're able to then isolate the solution. If we know that sin is the problem, sin is at fault, the way to restoration, the way to get back to Eden is through Jesus. It's through, if the problem was not following the way of God, then perhaps the way would be to follow the way of God, to do the will of God, to accept God and his grace. That is why we look at this environment and we put the blame at the feet of sin. But we find grace, we find life, we find salvation at the foot of the cross. So thank you that we can now look up and know that there's a better way, even in a sinful world. Until next time, please remember that change is